Well, good afternoon, and welcome to Let's Talk on this last day of Women's History Month and Good Friday. Every Friday, we bring you insightful conversations on important issues facing our community. I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer, and today we have three inspiring segments featuring three incredible women making a difference in their communities and beyond. We're going to squeeze out Women's History Month as long as we can, although just like Black History Month on our show here on Let's Talk, we're always going to be featuring great people that are doing wonderful work in our community. So we don't need the month to really focus on it, but it is Women's History Month, and so we're going to continue to highlight women who are doing great things in and for our community. Our first segment highlights the work of Deborah Shore, founder and executive director of Sasha Bruce Youthworks, an incredible and impactful program that provides services to DC youths, helping them find safe homes, achieve good physical and mental health, and explore opportunities in education and careers. Deborah's going to talk to us about the incredible work that they do. And our second segment is a kickoff to Earth Month. Well, Earth Day, which is, I think, April the 20th. I've got the date wrong, the 20th, April the 20th. And here at the Washington Informer, we have been observing Earth Day for, I'd say, at least the past 7 or 8 years. We do a special edition. We've got an event that's coming up that I'll tell you more details about in the coming weeks. And we're just going to share activities within the community about Earth Month, the whole month. So expect to hear all the great things because, a lot of times they don't think Black folks are involved in environmental issues and what have you, but we are. We are definitely in that space and in that place. And we're going to be talking to Queen McKnight, CEO of Queen's Energy Conservation, a company dedicated to helping businesses reduce their carbon footprint and energy consumption. A dynamic young woman who has a great work ethic and really wants to share the profession with others and get them engaged in the work that she's doing. And our final segment, I am so excited to bring, I'm calling her homegirl, but she left DC quite some time ago and now is, I think, on the West Coast. But we know her. She was a member of Union Temple Baptist Church, and she started with a doll that many of us still have. That's Darla Davenport-Powell, Chief Visionary Officer of Greater Works, LLC, a multimedia children's edutainment company. So Darla's going to talk about her journey, how she went from East Coast to West Coast and what she did all in between, and how she balances her multiple roles and passions and still stays focused on literacy and art and education as it relates to our young people. So I hope you've had a chance to pick up a copy of the most recent issue of the Washington Informer. This is it. I always like to show the paper because, these days and times when print is dying, we're not. So want to let you know we're still continuing to print the Informer. We have some great stories this week in the Washington Informer, so I want to make sure that you are kept up to date on what's going on here in and around the DMV. And in this issue, you'll also find this month's edition of The Bridge that features, again, 3 stories focusing on 3 young, dynamic women who are making their mark in their respective professions. So make sure you get a copy of this week's Informer. We're in around 600 locations throughout the city. And so you can go to our website if you're looking for a place to pick up a copy of the Informer. But remember, you can also get a digital copy of the Washington Informer by visiting our website at washingtoninformer.com. So we're hoping that you'll share today's broadcast on your social media platforms and follow us on Facebook, IG, X, TikTok, Threads, Nextdoor, LinkedIn, and YouTube, all those channels. But I will say, when you go to the website, which you see the digital copy of the Informer right on the screen, a little box is going to pop up and ask you to sign up so that we can make sure we can send you the Washington Informer straight to your inbox. And you will also receive Win Daily, which is our daily newsletter that keeps you up to date on the news that we are producing on a daily basis. So it is our job, that's why we're the Washington Informer. We want to keep you informed. And we also ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Washington Informer TV. That's one word, as you can see on the screen below, Washington Informer TV, no spaces. And we would love to have you as a part of the Washington Informer family. And you know what? I haven't mentioned a price for anything, have I? No, because it's all gratis of our dynamic staff. And we want to make sure, again, that we keep you informed. And at this point, we are making sure that you can get this news and information that you can use at your fingertips. And the cost is on us. So let's catch up on the news of the week with Curtis Knowles.
This is Win TV News, bringing you the news that matters. The Francis Scott Key Bridge, a lifeline for the city of Baltimore, was destroyed in the early morning when a container ship crashed into it, unleashing chaos in and around Charm City and tragedy for at least 7 families. When the ship known as the Dolly hit the support column, the once sturdy structure crumbled beneath the vessel's impact, sending people and vehicles plummeting into the depths of the Patapsco River at around 1:30 a.m. on Tuesday. Governor Wes Moore has wasted no time declaring a state of emergency and mobilizing resources and support from across the nation. He commented saying, quote, "We stand united in the face of tragedy." President Biden has also pledged the full support of the federal government in the response and recovery efforts after Tuesday's collapse. Metro is offering the public a sneak peek into its new 8000 series railcar and zero-emission buses through the Fleet of the Future Expo held at the National Mall from now through April 3rd. Visitors are given the chance to actually step inside a life-size replica of the 8000 series railcar and check out its new features. The new features of the railcar include bench-style seating, wider aisles, and a new electronic customer information. Alex Dodds, a DC resident, commented saying, quote, "I even saw a special spot for strollers, which is really nice. As someone who has little kids in the city, it is hard getting a big stroller onto a crowded train." The Washington Capitals and Wizards will stay in D.C. until 2050 under a new $515 million deal announced Wednesday by Mayor Bowser and team owner Ted Leonsis. The deal was announced just hours after the city of Alexandria said negotiations to bring the two teams to Northern Virginia has ended. The agreement still needs the D.C. Council's approval, but Council Chair Phil Mickelson said it will be up to a vote on Tuesday and is expected to pass. The $515 million deal will be folded into the city's capital budget to be paid over the next 3 years.
Thank you so very much, Curtis, for letting us know some of the highlights of the news happening in the DMV this week. And speaking of news, one of the things that we just heard that actor Louis Gossett has passed. It's sad news. We're losing so many of our great actors and so many in our community, but we wanted to share that information with you, and we will have more details about that in the Washington Informer, but we send our condolences out to his family and the community that loved all the movies that he's been featured in over the years, including the latest movie that we saw him in, which was The Color Purple. So God bless his soul, and we will miss Louis Gossett. Now, turning to our first guest is Deborah Shore, the founder and executive director of Sasha Bruce Youthwork. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to the show. Deborah, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Oh, well, if there's ever a time we need to have you on our show, it's right now. One, because of the fact that, as you shared, Sasha Bruce is about to celebrate its 50th anniversary. And the work that you've been doing for the past 50 years, we just want to make sure our community understands the critical role you play in actually helping our young people. So let's talk about the anniversary really quickly, and then we're going to go and talk about what's what you all have been working on and what you see is happening with young people in our city.
Okay. Well, the anniversary is so exciting. We're going to have a great gala celebration at the Washington Building Museum. And we really see this as both an opportunity to celebrate all that we've done for the last 50 years. I can't believe that I'm saying that at all. But also to help to bolster ourselves and for the next period of time, for the next chapter. And to really, look forward and build a greater foundation on which the organization will continue.
And I think that takes us, well, one, congratulations on your 50th. You know, you're an organization that's really based upon need. It's here because of the need. If Sasha Bruce or young people in the city didn't need the services, you wouldn't have to be around. So tell us about Sasha Bruce and what you do offer to the community, and particularly young people.
Thank you. Bruce has a number of programs, all of which center around helping young people who are in their adolescence and are having some difficulty in their lives. So we focus on homeless young people, but we don't only focus on helping them to be safe. We focus on trying to reunite them with their families whenever possible. We also have done a lot of going upstream. So we have a number of programs in different neighborhoods, Ballou High School, Clay Terrace, as a way to try to prevent the ruptures that happen and the difficulties that happen for young people, and to keep them in school and in their neighborhoods. Because we really see that, you know, we have such incredible young people, so much resilience, so much capacity, but they can become really derailed. And we know this. And so we do a lot of work to surround them with life skills and supports. Mental health. It's really interesting. Young people are really asking for mental health supports more than they used to. And, you know, anything, workforce training, helping them to change the trajectory of their lives towards becoming contributing members of our world.
Now, Debbie, how do you, or how does Sasha Bruce and the young people that you work with, how do you connect? I mean, how do they end up on your doorstep, or how do you end up on theirs?
Well, we have a lot of programs that are in communities. And so we do everything that we can. We do a lot of outreach to young people, but we also make it known through social media. And, you know, DC is a place where, you know, people are very connected to one another. And so we've been around a long time. So it's amazing how many young people come to the door of the shelter, where we have the only shelter in Washington for under 18-year-olds, and who just find us. And so we do all that we can to make sure that they know what we have available. And of course, we are in a number of schools. And so we do a lot of presentations to help them to know.
Yeah, and can you really give us a picture, a snapshot of, you know, what's happening with young folks? I mean, we talk a lot about the crime and other, say, you know, unproductive activities that they're involved in. But, you know, you've been at this for a while, and we had a pandemic, I'm sure, that had an impact. We've come out of that. But I mean, if you were to compare where we are today to maybe, you know, 10 years ago, are we finding a way to really better assist these young folks, or is the problem worsening? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think that we are out of the pandemic, is true. And yet I think a lot of young people are still in reaction to the pandemic, are still dealing with that. And when you look at the number of young people who are not back at school, it gives some idea of how that really disconnected so many young people from the institutions in their lives that often help to give them supports and structures and relationships. So I just think that we need to do a great deal more to get with young people who are disconnected or disconnecting, and really do everything that we can to help bring them back into the schools, but it's also a service system. Young people feel very alone in the world, and I think a lot of families feel very alone. And so I also believe that we need to be doing more to outreach to families at the earliest point in time, when they begin to, really worry about their young people. You see the stories of young people that are getting into trouble, and the families have said, I didn't know where to turn. We need to, I feel, as a community, recognize that this has been a very, very hard time for people. And what's going on in the world, all the roiling in our political world, I think has a tremendous impact.
Mm-hmm.
People feel more desperate, if you will, more angry. We need to surround, as much as we can and help connect them back to, a very loving and caring community that really exists.
One of the things that we discovered, and we're over here in Southeastern Ward 8, around the corner from Ballou. And on this show, every week we come up with just new and more programs that exist for young people to be engaged in. Sasha Bruce is one of those. The problem that I see sometimes is connecting the dots. How do we get them from point A to point Z? How do we get them there? And
Right.
And a lot of times we don't ask them what is it that they need. So I mean, when you talk to some of these young folks, what are they saying to you? I know you talked about them being lonely and isolated and disconnected, but what would they want us to do?
I think that they want us to make available to them ways for them to get job opportunities that they don't now have. I think that they want to have, as I said earlier, mental health services are, a really important thing. I want to talk about one of the things that we're doing that is so wonderful, which is that we have a group of young people who are our youth advisory committee. But many of these young people are now becoming hired by our program and some of the other youth agencies in the city. And what it has meant is that these young people with lived experiences are now utilizing that in behalf of their peers. And it is a tremendous thing to see this. So I feel like that young people feel very much like the world is passing them by, and what we need to do is to make those connections. As you say, we need to bring them to a place where their skills and talents and their perspectives are valued and honored. And I believe that we can do a great deal more of this than we are now doing. I mean, we have this group of young people who they call themselves the CURB, Cultivating Urban Resilient Brilliant young people who are doing podcasts that are meant to reach other young people and are looking for ways that they can develop themselves and open up pathways for other young people.
That sounds really exciting. I mean, it's a creative side, and I think because they're so creative, and there's so many avenues to express their creativity, I think that helps as well. And I'm glad that you all are doing that program. But I guess on the flip side of this, your program needs support, right? And we're getting ready to go through a very serious, tough time in the city when it comes to the budget and resources. How does that fare for programs like Sasha Bruce?
It is really worrying for sure. We already have heard that there are some cuts that are coming to us. And we are just hoping that we can continue to build friendships all around the community, to corporations, to individuals, that will help to bridge the gap. It is a very worrying time, especially when we saw a 12% increase in the number of homeless youth last year.
Wow.
So we know that there are more young people living rough than ever. And from my perspective, if we want to really impact chronicity and people who become just stay on the street for such a long period of time, and it really changes their lives completely, we need to start with young people. We need to start with knowing that the longer you stay on the street, the longer that's going to continue. So we need to not be closing programs. We need to be adding. We've got a lot of work to do.
Right. And when I'm not always one who likes percentages, because it sometimes skews what the real numbers are. But if there's a real number that you could share with us about, the young people that are actually homeless or living on the streets, do you have a number you could share with us?
Well, we know that with the count that is done, that doesn't include the couch surfing, it's about 1,000 young people. With the number that does, it's about 2,000 or 2,500. And so, we don't begin to have capacity in the city to
right, as the only shelter for young people.
Yeah, we have there are other programs for 18 to 24-year-olds. Our Sasha Bruce house is the only for under 18-year-olds.
And how young are we talking about?
12, 11. Wow. Yeah.
Girls and boys.
Girls and boys. Yeah.
Yeah. That's sad. It's really sad.
The happy part of it is that we really have invested in working with families. And so we are trying to make sure that young people that are the under 18-year-olds are resolving the issues, if at all possible. It isn't always, but it is many times. And so, we're really investing in that work.
And what are some of the organizations that you work with that help to support what you all are doing?
Yeah, you mean organizations that we're working with that also serve youth?
Right. Let's say for employment or job training or anything like that, or does that comes directly from Sasha Bruce?
Yeah, well, a lot of it does come directly from Sasha Bruce, but we work with any organization in town that is providing something that our young people need and that we're not doing, or that we have a lot of young people and maybe, we need some additions, Life Pieces to Masterpieces, the Latin American Youth Center, Smile. There are a number of great organizations in town that are doing great work. And we try to have a warm kind of handoff, for young people if they need programs that work with young people that want to do art or that want to do, some kind of creative work, want to learn about graphic design. One of our Curb members is really interested and very talented in graphic design, looking for places that she could intern. So, we're always looking for what we can do to enhance the work that we do.
And what about volunteers, Deborah? Do you need volunteers to support what you're doing?
Absolutely. We love having volunteers. We've had volunteers sometimes as a group who will come and have a day when they will, work with us on one of our houses, trying to, plant bulbs and such. In fact, we're having a great event on April 20th, a Tulip Palooza. We have a group that we work with called Guerrilla Gardeners.
Okay.
And we have developed with them a training for a group of young people, all of them with wonderful lived experiences, who are doing urban gardening.
Wow. Okay.
They are taking care of the grounds around our Sasha Bruce house, which is at 1022 Maryland Avenue Northeast. And on April 20th, we're going to have a work day. And so we're open to volunteers coming. And then we're going to celebrate also. And we're going to have the Duke Ellington School Band who will come and help to celebrate our volunteers. So we'd love to have more people.
That's fantastic. And what date is that again? April the
20th.
20th. Okay. It's a great
Earth.
way to celebrate Earth Day.
Exactly.
Exactly. And to support Sasha Bruce. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. Is there anything you want to share with us anything else you might want to share with us before we sign off?
Well, I just want to say that I feel like that, the Washington community has so much to offer surrounding the young people that we serve. And it would be wonderful to see us hooking up with all of the other efforts and making it easier to navigate for young people, because it isn't easy to navigate at this point. As much richness as we have, it's complicated to do so.
So for those who want to volunteer, who have organizations that they want to support, how do they reach you? How do they reach you or Sasha Bruce? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay, there it is. Yeah.
Yep. You want to just tell us what the best way to reach out?
Yeah, www.sashabruce.org will definitely get to our team of people who are, wanting to find new friends and helpers. So, please do reach out.
Okay.
This is a wonderful way for us to expand what we're doing.
Wonderful. Well, 50 years is nothing to sneeze at. I'm sure we haven't talked about the number of young people you've helped over the years, but I know it's been hundreds. I don't know, it could be thousands for that matter. Yeah.
It's thousands.
Wow.
We're serving 1,500 young people.
Currently?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
God bless you. We're so glad to have you in the community, to have Sasha Bruce as well. Sasha Bruce, Youthworks, Deborah Shore. Thank you so very much for being with us, for all that you do, and feel free to come back. And maybe we'll be out to cover your event on the 20th. I'm gonna make that commitment, and then we'll see what happens for the anniversary. But that, what did you call it? The Tulip Palooza?
Yes.
Right. I won't forget that one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All righty. Have a great day. Yeah, I mean, it's getting to be spring, and some of you all are trying to figure out, what can I do? How can I help? We always have that, what do we say all the time? Somebody needs to do something. Well, that's something somebody can do, and that is to volunteer to support the work at Sasha Youthworks. And we hope that you will consider that, and we can tell that story going forward. Our next guest is Queen McKnight. She's the CEO of Queen's Energy Conservation, and a young lady we met not too long ago who just was so impressive, and may connect with Sasha Youthworks as well, but Ballou grad, had so much great things to say. Welcome to the show, Queen.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, tell us now, um, you know, you own a business, you own your own company, you're dealing with it's Queen's Energy Conservation. How did this come about?
Okay. Well, I actually started in the industry as an electrician, and I saw the need for system integration to better assist clients with ultimately saving money and sustaining life, sustaining the world that we live in. So integrating these systems and using innovative technologies can help pretty much change the trajectory of the business, the customers, everyone that's involved in the world in which we live today.
Queen, you're in a business or a profession where there are not a lot of women. And so I'd love to hear that story as well. I mean, what inspired you to get into this whole area of energy conservation, and to start your own company? Who are you looking at, or what was your inspiration?
So my inspiration actually was being a young mother. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest here. When I started in the industry, there was a phenomenal opportunity that the government put out for local area residents. I joined a program that put me in the electrical industry, and ultimately, probably about 7 years in, I just really saw the need to start integrating multiple systems, like getting in front of quality control and assurance showed me across the span now how, hey, if we start tying these systems together, this one can monitor that one, and it's going to save everyone money. And on top of saving everyone money, it's going to help the system live longer. It's going to have a longer lifespan. It's also going to create a better world. It's going to sustain the world that we live in. So we need to tie these systems together. Everyone's all individualized and broken out into their respective work. Where if you span across and tie everything together, then it can actually, the integration is just phenomenal. I mean,
So
down
what is
to,
it? What do you, yeah, you were getting ready to say that. That's what I was
yes,
going to ask
down
you. Okay,
to,
let's talk about the systems that you
yes,
work in or want to integrate.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
So we're talking about, I'm talking about the actual building systems. So the electrical and the mechanical systems inside of the building, that's a lot more technical, but also the engagement of your stakeholders. So your client engagement with your subcontractors. So it's across the band. It's like communication efforts. In those communication efforts, as the general contractor, is to now bring all of those puzzle pieces together and make a phenomenal image. You know,
Mhm.
there's a lot of folks involved when it comes to the construction industry, from the government side of things where you're doing your permit pulling and everything, down to the inspector that's coming out to inspect the project once it's done. But if from the beginning of the project, even with the developers now, you're getting the voice of the clients pretty much integrated across the board to change the trajectory of your end result. So your actual building systems get integrated, but it's also just communication efforts.
But walk me
And sh-
through this. Let's say, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but walk me through this from the consumer standpoint, or the business owner, or the, like you said, the individual who needs to, bring these systems in because they're trying to do whatever. I mean, give me an example of what you're saying, and it may be a project that you worked on.
yes. So
Hmm.
I'll give you a great example here. Um, a grocery store. Most recently, we were working with a grocery store. Now, this grocery store needed to have, they actually they did not pass their previous inspections for some ADA compliance. So this was a compliance issue. So a different contractor was in there and they did some work. Now it did not pass the inspections, where it's like, okay, we need to get someone in here. We need to pass these inspections, because the prime contractor is there to deliver to the customer a good job that's passed inspections and turnkey, ready to go. Go on in that grocery store and let everyone get their food and get on out of here. However, not bridging that gap, right? Now there's a need to come back in and redo what was already done. Okay. Now, if in this industry, like I said, there's several layers and things of the sort, where you have your tiers and stuff like that. But what's important to understand is, okay, your client comes to you and ultimately it's to save money. Hey, or something's not working. Hey, this isn't working. I need it fixed. Or hey, this bill is ridiculous. I need to get this cost lowered. So now this is your customer. Now you, as the business owner, need to come up with ways now to save this money. Now you can easily say, oh, well, we can change this light in this grocery store and make your costs lower, right? Or you can go that extra mile and say, let me see how much usage you're utilizing. Let me take this a step further now. Not just, oh, it's this one light that needs to be changed out. We're going to go a step further. We're going to analyze what it is that you have in front of you
Right.
to,
I kind of get all that. And I guess what I'm asking is, if a person has a need, why would they call your company? What is it that you're going to do? If whether it's an electrical issue, whether it's
plumbing, or
or
yes, yes.
plumbing, or like you said, access, for people who maybe need additional access or additional assistance, what does your company do? Why would they call Queen's Energy Conservation?
Yes, because we are a vertically integrated firm. So what we do is we bring all of our stakeholders together. It's not this contract is for plumbing and you this is the plumbing piece, so you only focus on the plumbing.
So
No,
do
you
you
really
work with
do it.
plumbers?
Yes, we work
Okay.
with plumbers, mechanical, concrete, and if the plumbing is going in the same wall as the electrical and the same wall as the insulation, then we all need to come together and plan this out so it's turnkey for the client. And in that, we're implementing strategies where now at the end of the day, the client is going to save money.
Mhm.
So rather
Well,
that's
that's everybody wants, like you said, everybody wants to save money, but they also want, I mean, is it money, or do they want a great job done? And so that's the thing that they now does your company have you know are you what do you call it, yeah, licensed? Are you all a part of the district government? I can't think of the term,
yes, yes.
with
We
LSDBE. Are you certified
yes.
business? Okay.
Yes, we
Yes.
are certified business enterprise. We're also federally registered to work in various states throughout the nation. So definitely certified, registered, and working with government clients, commercial clients, and residential clients alike. We
Mhm.
also offer some STEM training as well. So I'm
Mhm.
definitely going to be connecting with Sasha Bruce
Sasha
here.
Bruce, good, good. I mean, and when your company's based in DC?
Yes, Ward 8. We
Okay.
are out of Ward 8. Um, Full service general contracting company, vertically integrated firm. We specialize in, again, commercial, residential, and industrial construction. And with that, we're working on getting more into the training, because it's so imperative that the younger generations understand the importance of energy conservation, that is
Mhm.
understood that not only tying systems, but building networks within your network can strengthen the community for the customers. So that's what's very important to understand as well. So
So for
training.
young people that are looking, I know you yourself, you're Blue High School graduate, a class of what?
2009, I
All right.
am a graduate of Bellew Senior High School. Yes, a proud, proud, proud graduate.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so, how can people contact you, and what kind of training do you provide?
Yes, so they can reach out through the website or through any of our social media handles, which is, I believe, on the screen here.
Right, we have
So,
there. Mhm.
yes, yes. So you can go to the website. There's a contact us form there. We have a lot of community engagement, things of the sort. We have some blocks adopted throughout the city and stuff. So if you have some community outreach efforts, if you want some education training, we offer certification training as well. So we have some OSHA, if you need some occupational safety and health credentials and or fall protection. So there's a variation of trainings that we have, but we also can come into a classroom setting and do some hands-on projects to show, hey, on a smaller scale, right, you can conserve. And then as you grow older, right, or if you're already older, because we're working right now on getting into the some of the federal like prison systems and with some of the returning citizens to also show that, hey, there's a lot that can be done in this industry and it's never too late to start. I mean, never.
One of the big challenges that particularly small and minority-owned businesses have in the area, one, we know there's a need. People are looking for jobs, and we want to provide those jobs to them. But it's also getting contracts ourselves. So, can you speak to those as it relates to Queen's Energy Conservation? Do you have employment opportunities available? And how successful have you been in getting government contracts?
Now, that is something um that's hard. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sugarcoat it or anything of the sort. However, once you're able to build that past performance, then it becomes a lot easier. So
Hmm.
networking. I encourage everyone to go to these networking events that's in the district. Go out and meet people. I mean, I met Miss Barnes at a wonderful, awesome marketing event. I was there to learn some marketing strategies, and I actually networked, and here we are today. So
Hmm.
it's very, very important to go out there, ask questions, and make sure that your voice is heard. Make sure that your voice is heard, and that once given that opportunity, you dribble that ball.
I hear you. And what about employment? I mean, what is your, are you hiring, or do you need people with certain skills, or how are you building your base?
Yes, yes, yes. So definitely we are always taking applications, because in this construction industry, it can get very, very fast tracked depending on what contracts are coming up. However, it's an industry where, as mentioned, it's not easy. It's several layers. So you have to wait for funding. You may have several things before it's time to start that work.
Hmm.
So it's just important. I suggest you visit our website, and put in an application, and someone will definitely be in touch for interview and everything of the sort. But there's always opportunities available depending on the demand of the work.
Last question, and I'm just curious, because you are, I'm proud of you as a young person, a younger person, and well, at least you look young. I don't know, you could, your looks could be deceiving, but but I would assume that you are. And I mean, as a little girl, when you were thinking about what you wanted to be when you grew up, did it look anything like this?
Now I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but God is good, because as a little girl wanting to grow up, I knew I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
I wanted to be a doctor. And the reason why I wanted to be a doctor was because I wanted to sustain lives. But God saw different. God saw me as a conduit. And in that, I've just assisted others in sustaining their own life, sustaining the lives around them, sustaining the world that we live in. And to me, that is like the PhD of them all. So
Great answer. Great answer. Well, Queen, I want to thank you very much for being with us. Again, we're going to put the website up one more time in case folks want to reach out to you, either for opportunities, or if they're looking for employment opportunities as well. Thank you for helping to keep the Earth going as we celebrate Earth Day coming up, and we're going to acknowledge this the whole month. So we appreciate what you're doing to contribute to our Earth.
thank you so much. Thank you for having me here today, and everyone have a great afternoon.
All right. You take care.
All righty.
Okie doke. Yes. We're in the place and in those spaces trying to keep this a green and healthy earth. And every day, we can do at least one thing to make it a better place to live. And one of those one things, we're going to talk about that a little later. Stop throwing your trash on the ground. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. We'll have that later on during the month. But I know I got some folks out there that are probably saying, yes, please. But it's now really exciting to bring on another guest as we uh, wind up Women's History Month, and that is Darla Davenport-Powell, the CEO of Visionswork. Darla, welcome to Let's Talk.
I am so excited. Hats off to Queen McKnight and Deborah Shore for the work that they are doing. First of all, thank you, Denise, for inviting me to share my story on Let's Talk today. I would be remiss if I didn't pause to pay tribute to your parents, the late Dr. Calvin Rolock, who founded the Washington Informer, and your bonus mom, attorney Wilhelmina Rolock, who was the president at the time. They saw a need in our community 60 years ago.
Yes.
And they filled it. And you are continuing that legacy, my sister, in such an innovative and powerful way. So I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Darla. I mean, I miss you.
I
Now,
miss you
you
too.
out there, you're out there on the West Coast now, right?
No, I'm back on the East Coast. I'm
Oh,
in my
great.
hometown, Columbia, South Carolina. We've
Okay.
been here for 2 years. I'm working on a dissertation. We'll talk about that later. So no, I'm back on the East Coast.
Well, tell us what you've been doing. I mean, it's from the very first creation, your doll. Introduce us to her
Well, I want to start right where we are right now.
right now. That's fine. That's
And that
fine.
is with the Bell Affair movie. It was released on March the 26th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's streaming on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon, and it's available for rent or purchase. And it's based on Dr. William G. Thomas's book that he released in 2020 called Question of Freedom: The Families Who Challenged Slavery from the Nation's Founding to the Civil War. And Dr. Thomas, he's a researcher and co-writer on the film, which is also co-written by my homegirl and directed by Dr. Wakito Dreher and produced by Michael Burton. And they all are professors at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. And a little bit about the story. It's about the Bell family who were enslaved in Prince George's County. Eventually, they lived and worked in Washington, D.C. at the Navy Yard. They went to court 7 times, including the Supreme Court, to win their family freedom. And they knew the law, and they strategized that same law that enslaved them to win their freedom. And the thing is, Lucy Bell, the matriarch, the role that I play, she and her son, Daniel and Anne, they were free, whereas Daniel's wife, Mary, and their children were not. And that was until the widow of the slave owner rejected a deed of manumission, because the slave owner signed that deed for Mary and her children to become free. But his wife rejected the deed, and that's where the plot unfolds. And Daniel, my son, was determined to have all the family free, because none of us were free until all of us were free. And as his mother, I knew it would be a life or death situation if the plan had failed. And I love this line in the movie where I said, Daniel, you know, this freedom making business is some hard business. Do you have what it takes, son? Do you have it? And it ended up on April 15, 1848, where 77 enslaved people boarded a schooner called the Pearl, which pushed off from the wharf on 7th Street and headed up the Potomac. And there were 11 members of the Bell family on board. And I'll leave the rest for your audience to look at the movie. But it is really a masterpiece. And I was so grateful to be a part of that wonderful cast.
As parts of the story, I think we know, Darla, but maybe not about the Bell family. How did you come across this story, or how did the producer come across this story?
Well, Dr. William Thomas, as I said, he researched. His research led to about a couple of 100 families. 100 families going to the court system to win their freedom. And so, by being a researcher and him partnering with Dr. Wakito Dreher and also Michael Burton, they formed a production company, and they released this movie along with Anna and some other movies. And I auditioned for the role and landed the role.
I mean, that's what's so exciting to me, because in the fact that we know that you're, you know, what you call a mompreneur, a toy inventor, drummer, scholar, and actor and author. You know, you're carrying a lot of hats, so, which is wonderful, and they're all creative. So, I mean, tell us about that journey. How did you get from, as I said, remembering you at Union Temple Baptist Church here in DC, and then all of those things that you've added to your plate?
Well, the journey in terms of the mompreneur started over 40 years ago. Naya will be 41 this year.
Oh, no.
And yeah, 41. She will be 41, Denise. And that's when our daughter was born. And my husband and I, we went looking for dolls that looked like Naya, and looking for books that reflected our culture and that would reinforce the skills that we were teaching her. And we didn't find any. So that started the journey of my creating my publishing company, High Hopes Publishing, where we released the Here Comes Naya book
Right.
and audio tape, and you did a wonderful story on it. And it spoke about the day in the life of a toddler who was discovering her world with her parents there to guide her. And at the time, I wanted to release a doll at the same time, but I didn't have the money. And my mother, Denise, worked at Horseman Doll Factory for 20 years.
Wow.
And I'll never forget it. She was laid off. They had sold the factory. She was laid off. And she had $2,000 that she was going to spend on a washer and dryer. And she knew that I was looking and trying to publish this book. And she ended up giving me the $2,000 to publish Here Comes Naya, and the rest is history.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Great story, great book. But you didn't stop there. I mean, now you did toys. Tell us about that, how this ended up on your plate.
Well, we did our first Naya doll in 1990, and she's the first African-American doll to speak Spanish, Swahili, and English. And we wanted to have a doll that spoke Swahili because in schools, of course, we learn Spanish, we learn French. Well, what about the African languages? So we wanted to introduce children at an early age to an African language. So we created the Here Comes Naya doll. And from that doll, we went on the show called the American Inventor Show in 2000, where we got a chance to expand from one doll to 6 more dolls, Naya and her friends. In 2010, we went to the ABC Toy Fair, and we expanded even more with Naya and her global friends. And then we came out with the paper dolls, and so we've been adding on and on and on. And then we came out with the I Am Enough doll series as well. So we went from 1 doll to now 12 dolls.
Darla, where can we get these dolls?
We are still looking for funding. That's the thing about it. With all these years, we have been looking to partner or for someone to license all that we have. So we're still at it, Denise.
Okay.
We're still at it. What we've been able to do, we've been able to keep the publishing end going, and that Naya and I co-authored Naya and the Clubhouse Crew a couple of years ago. And then Naya went on and published her own book, What Princess is Like, because Naya now has a Nyla. And so the legacy continues. So we have the books, we have the CDs, and we have the empowerment t-shirts, the I Am Enough empowerment t-shirts. But we are still looking for, a partner or someone to license all this wonderful, we call it the Here Comes Naya ecosystem.
And the books are available where?
They're available on the website, www.nayakids.com.
Okay.
Nayakids.com.
Okay. All right. I'm glad. Yeah, let's do it one more time because we want to put it up on the screen.
www.nayakids.com.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And the graphics and who does all the graphics and the storytelling?
Well, in terms of the graphics, we had a wonderful, wonderful artist from Ukraine, Nina, to do our graphics for Naya and the Clubhouse Crew. For the We Are Friends book, my beautiful friend, Suzanne Mills Winkler, who I've worked with since 2000, she and her team did the illustrations for the We Are Friends book, and also for the CD, We Are Friends CD.
Nice, nice. So, Darla, I mean, your whole career has been focused on inspiring, I think, particularly brown girls, children, to do things, right? I mean, you and your daughter are working together now. There's a Nyla that's working together. But why is this so important to you, and why have you dedicated your life to trying to inspire kids, and what is it you would want to see happen as a result of reading the books and listening to the CDs and maybe eventually getting the dolls? What is it? What difference are you trying to make?
It's all about authenticity. It's about representation. It's about inclusivity. And our motto, Denise, is that all children deserve to see themselves authentically represented in the books they read, the toys they play with, and the media that they watch. All children deserve to see themselves authentically represented in the books they read, the toys they play with, and the media that they watch. As a television producer, my approach to creating is to create engaging and impactful content that centers around authenticity, diversity, and empowerment. And I do this through storytelling, interactive elements, educational components, because what I want to do is not just to entertain, but to inspire and empower young viewers to embrace their identities and reach their full potential.
And what is the hope and expectation for the film? I mean, now that you can put actor under your belt, I mean, and telling those kinds of stories. I know this was one you auditioned for, but where do you see that going, the film itself and your career in the field of film and, producing films?
Well, acting is all about stories and connecting with people. Mm-hmm. So whether it's on stage or in front of the camera, those skills like empathy, communication, seeing things from different angles, so my thing is I want to encourage others to find whatever that thing is that they have been gifted with and to be able to exhaust it. Communication is one of my things. So whether I'm communicating by way of drumming, whether I'm communicating by way of acting, my hope is to encourage, inspire, and to educate.
And what's next for Darla Davenport-Powell?
To finish this dissertation. That's what's next. To finish dissertation of practice. I'm doing a study on social emotional learning and young girls, and I'm measuring self-awareness, competence, and confidence. And I'm looking to have that study to really, really, I was going to say it's going to really be my educational television series. So now I have the data behind what I've been doing for 40 plus years. So that's what's next, to finish this dissertation of practice and to turn it into an educational television series for children.
Well, wonderful. I was so happy to, as I was scrolling through LinkedIn, True Confessions here, and came across, the announcement of the film and all the things that you're doing. I said, let me reach out to Darla. This is Women's History Month, and you have made such an impact in many ways. And so I'm glad that you could find some time to carve out to be with us today and to talk about your many, many projects. So I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. May I shout out my grandchildren? First it was about my children, but now it's about my grandchildren. I have 4 now: Rocco, Eric, Nyla, and Naomi. And I just want to say that, I take my cues from them and other children in terms of creating this content. So it's like a co-constructive kind of thing. So I want to shout them out now for being, the inspiration in terms of my continuing this journey.
Well, I can't wait to meet them. I don't even, I wouldn't even recognize Nyla when I see it, Naya when I see her. So at 41, but she was a blessing, and now she's blessed you 4 times.
Well, 3 times, because my son Nigel, he has
forget about your son. Yes.
I have 2 sons, Nigel and Naeem and Naya.
Right. Okay, you are busy.
Well, no, it's really productive. I don't consider myself busy. I work with intentionality, so I'm not busy, but whatever I have been given whatever my hands have been assigned to do, I consider it an honor. And it's an honor to be here with you today. If anyone wants to get in touch with me, of course, you'll put the website and the email up. But I just want to just encourage you, for just like I said, just keep on keeping on. You do a marvelous work in our community. We are blessed by everything that you and your family that you have done and that you're getting ready to do. So God's blessings on you.
Thank you so very much, Darla. I appreciate it. It's been great talking to you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm going to keep following you, and I'm going to go see that movie. Go get that movie so that I can get you some feedback on. I just can't wait to see the story. So thanks a lot for sharing.
Excellent. Thank you for my time here.
All righty. Have a good one. Well, thank you for watching Let's Talk today on this day, last day of Women's History Month. I hope you've enjoyed the program and enjoyed listening to folks who are really trying to make a difference in our community. Deborah Shore, Queen McKnight, and Darla Davenport-Powell. No matter what you're doing, you have a story to tell. And we certainly want to do our part to make sure that we can share that with our community. And if there are things that, ways in which we can support you, or you are looking to support more with what you're doing, please reach out to us at news@washingtoninformer.com. That's how you can reach us, at news@washingtoninformer.com. Again, thank you for joining us today. Continue to uplift and empower women everywhere. Remember, change begins with awareness and dialogue. Let's continue to spark conversations, break barriers, and build a more inclusive future. Tune in next week for more inspiring discussions and impactful stories. I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, signing off. Happy Easter. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.